Hey there, honey bunnies. Welcome to episode 125 of the Sovereign Storytellers podcast with your host, Michelle Wolf. Today's is why we're warned against the tools of magic or divination. I don't know which word I'm going to use, but that's where we're going to start. So in the last episode, 124, I talked about going on a divination diet where I was going to take a little time and not consult any oracle, just sitting in the silence, which I do. I do both. Sit in the silence or sitting in the power, whatever you want to call it. But it's awareness. You could call it an awareness practice because that's what daily practice is getting so aware of yourself that you know when you're receiving other energies, you know what energies are coming from the collective, you know your own baseline, and you can feel when spirit is present, etc., etc. And then usually I will have a couple of favorite card decks, oracle decks, and tarot cards, but I'm not a tarot expert at all, that I will usually draw from just to see what's up for the day. And then I'll sit and try to do a little channeling practice to see if B and the gang have anything to say, or I may call on my ancestors to see if there's any information. And then I journal. I have kind of a, complex, not complicated. It's simple, but I do spend a lot of time in the morning trying to tune in and doing all those things. Well, a long time ago, I was raised pretty heavily Christian, and also my mom filled our house with all the what you would call woo stuff, but I don't use that word anymore. If you want to know why, scroll down and look at the earlier episode about calling things woo. Anyway, so I had all of the continuum, total hardcore fundamentalist Christian, and all the way aliens, Buddhism, Hinduism, whatever religion I wanted to look at, medium stuff, all the stuff, which is cool, right? Because I got to explore all the things and make my own decision. So I'm grateful for that. However, like a lot of people, I'm confused by the Bible a lot. And Rob Bell actually helped me make peace with the Bible and really understand it from a completely different perspective. His book is, I think, just What is the Bible? It's excellent. If you have a complicated history with Christianity, that book is really excellent. Can't recommend it enough. So in the Bible, and I grew up with these warnings about the tools of magic, warnings about superstition, all the Bible stories about worshiping idols. That one I get. When you're worshiping something outside of you, you forget that it's not the golden calf. and if I misunderstand anything in the Bible, please just know that's because I'm an idiot and I just understand it the way I understand it, which isn't always correct. However, again, when you're worshiping something outside yourself, it's dangerous because it's outside yourself. It's not that the idol itself is dangerous. It's not that money itself is dangerous. It's your worship, which to me in this context means it's your handing your power over to something that is impermanent, that's dangerous. It's not safe to put your trust in something outside yourself. Politicians, power, your job, your home, everything outside of you and the body that you live in is impermanent, right? You don't get to keep it. You don't get to keep it forever. You have it for this life. You have it for a year or so, or a decade or so, but then you lose it, including people, right? To me, the theme that runs throughout religious texts and spiritual texts is, just to boil it down, is don't put your power outside. Don't put your faith in things outside yourself. A big problem with relationships is basing your happiness on the other person's actions or inactions. One thing I appreciated about my last marriage is we really gave each other the total freedom. I could travel, and we worked that out. We had separate rooms, and it really helped. It really worked for both of us. We were very creative in how we made the relationship work and how we depersonalized each other's behavior. So if he was like gone all day, which he frequently was, doing his own thing, doing projects, whatever, I just didn't take that personal. I lived my own life. And that part of our relationship really worked. Because I didn't expect him to be anyone other than who he was being. And when he became someone through a series of choices that I tried very hard but couldn't live with, then we had to go our separate ways. But I still don't judge him for it. He chose to live his life in a way that I couldn't also be a part of. Okay, that doesn't make him bad or me bad. It certainly wasn't a failure on anybody's part. But to be able to do that with someone, to respect their rhythms, to honor the way that they're being, and understand that the way that they're being today may change tomorrow. And you're going to have to flow with that. And you'll adapt or change, or you'll go your separate ways. And there's no blame anywhere. So the spiritual texts all have a daily practice. All tell you to pray, meditate, study. All of them do. There's a reason those things are timeless. So we're cautioned in the Bible about worshiping things outside of ourselves. The thing in the Bible about one God used to really bug me. But what I understand now, it's one relationship with God, whatever you call it. Your relationship to your definition of all that is. That larger something that we're a part of. It's our relationship that the Bible is constantly hammering home through stories and metaphors, examples of what happens if you deviate from that being your primary relationship focus. If you deviate from that, you're disempowered. If you deviate from that, you're looking for safety out there where there is none to be found. You cannot find lasting, sustainable safety outside of your relationship with yourself and what you consider to be all that is. I know that's like a pretty hardcore statement, and I tend to try to ride the middle ground more, but for me, that's my experience. If I don't tend to my relationship with the divine, I really love Mary, all things Mother Mary, but I'm not at all Catholic. In fact, I've got kind of a pretty big beef with the with the Catholic Church. But man, I love me some Mary and some rosaries. Read Way of the Rose if you're not Catholic, but you're feeling drawn to the rosary and Mary stuff. The Way of the Rose. Another book, can't recommend, life-changing. But that has to be my daily focus, because when it's not, my life goes to shit. When it's not, I get caught up in anxiety around money. I start to think that the getting of the finances straightened out is my primary importance, or should be my primary focus for the day. That's absolutely incorrect. Absolutely incorrect. We're warned against worshiping false idols. There is one God. Think about that on deeper level. One relationship to your definition of God. Not worshiping and putting your power, your handing over your authority to a piece of paper with an old white guy's face on it. Sorry about that noise. I'm kind of pounding the windowsill. I get kind of fired up. So I've always been a little bit like, I wonder why there's such a stink about oracle cards. When I used to live stream on Periscope every day. Did it every day for a year. But I did it for total longer than that before I burnt out on it. I was like, oh my God, I don't know if I can ever live stream again. But I live in the South, the Bible Belt. And if I was doing card readings, which I used to do, when I was doing card readings, sometimes people would pop up, and call me mean names or say it was the work of the devil, blah, blah, whatever. I wish I just roll my eyes and block them. But I hope y'all aren't hearing all those notifications. There's like a bunch of them coming in all of a sudden. When that's happening, we have forgotten why. We've just decided, tools of magic are evil. Using oracle cards is evil. Oh, that's bad. Oh, that's Satan. Ooh, you're going to get in trouble. You're going to hell now for sure. But if you think about it deeper, it's the same. It's it can be. Okay, we don't need to hate the tool. We need to understand how we're using the tool and where our power is in relationship to the tool. But what's happened over time is we've just decided, because we don't like to think about things very deeply, and it's been so long, that's bad, don't do that. Not understanding that it's not inherently bad. It can be a really nice tool to help people open up to their intuition, and it can help get I think especially true for projectors when we can't see ourselves very clearly, because most of our time is spent seeing others very clearly and trying to offer guidance. It can help you kind of see some things. Some patterns can start showing up that can help you understand that you're in a blind spot. Something's happening because you keep getting the same fucking card. Even if you switch decks, you still get the same card. You can go, I must be in a blind spot. I better get some help. I better ask somebody for some input. Okay, that's an effective use of a tool. A hammer is something you can use to create or something you can use to murder. You can build and expand with a hammer, or you can end a life with a hammer. It's not the hammer's fault. The hammer's just a fucking hammer. Money's just money. Oracle cards are just oracle cards. Having a lucky rabbit's foot is, first of all, gross. And second of all, it's not the rabbit's foot. Right? It's outside of you. A talisman outside of you. Even saying the rosary, that's outside of me. My crystal collection, outside of me. It's not them doing it. It's not the tool doing it. It's you. And if you mistakenly think that you have to have the external tool in order to feel a certain way or in order to access your intuition, now you've veered off into no-no land. That's a no-no. Because you'll keep looking for a tool instead of looking for yourself, instead of looking for the pathway more deeply within, to where your intuition is available to you even before you finish formulating the question. And then eventually, before you even think to ask a question, the information's coming. That takes time and practice. If you're dependent on a card deck, if you're always running off to a psychic, and including me, if you're thinking that someone else has something that you don't, now you're in the dead zone. That's a dead zone. It's disempowering. It keeps you from being the fullness of who you are. It weakens you. If I think I have to have a bunch of stuff to make my life better, I'm off track. If having some stuff helps me remember that I need to be resonant with what I'm seeking, again, you can listen back to some earlier episodes about that, then that's okay. I'm using that tool as a prompt. I'm using an object to catch my attention, to help me remember that I'm the one that does the thing, not the object. I'm the one that chooses to step into a certain state of energy, or I don't. That's why you don't have to be in the forest to benefit from using forest Reiki. It's not the tree doing it. Yeah, the tree has its own energy and it will tell you things. But it's your choice to hook up with that or not. It's a prompt. An oracle deck can be a prompt to help you remember to step into the state that you're trying to get to. It's not telling you anything magical. It's reminding you, if you let it, that you're the magic. It's temporary. Taking that time and just refusing to consult anything, I was like, oh, I see where I kind of, you do a little thing every day and you get in the habit and you kind of forget that it's not about that. That's why, people saying the rosary are doing like a novena, 54-day novena. They have to go through this stage of feeling guilty if they don't do it right, if they don't do the whole rosary. Or, maybe they fall asleep halfway through. And I went through that too. And then what I was told was, it's not about that. It's about you sitting down and devoting yourself to that relationship. However you choose to devote yourself to building and maintaining that relationship to your own soul, to spirit, to God, to whatever, how you do it doesn't matter. You can do it with forest Reiki. You can do it with oracle cards. You can do it with a daily Bible reading. You can do it by going to church. You can do it by standing naked under the moon. You can do it however you want to do it. But don't forget that the things that are outside of you are not the point. They're not good or bad. They're just tools. They're things that help us practice maintaining our own energy, being aware of where we're at so that we can have a sovereign choice. If you don't know where you're at, you don't have a choice. If you're not aware of what's going on with you and where your connections are, the nervous system's running the show, right? Even when you're doing nervous system training and developing your resiliency and increasing your window of tolerance and all those things that we want to be able to bounce back from external things faster, you got to know where you're at first. Are you falling into collapse, or are you looking for a fight? Or are you running for the hills, literally or energetically? Got to know where you're at first. You won't know where you're at if you aren't taking the time to listen, to find your baseline, to hear what your mind is doing, to hear all those voices in your head. First is your relationship with the divine, beloved. With God, with gods, with the earth, with the rosary, with the Bible, whatever. That's your first responsibility. When you do that, the other stuff gets easier and easier over time. You don't have to be afraid of the tools of magic. You just have to recognize that they're tools. these things got started with good intentions. The pushing against external tools. It's because we lose ourselves when we do that, but we have forgotten that. And now people just get scared of the tools. I'm guessing that anyone listening to this podcast probably already knows this. But just in case you need a reminder, enjoy the tools for what they are. But understand that it's just like a hammer. It has nothing to give you except a reminder and a prompt. Do crystals carry different energies? Yes. Just like the trees, they can be that opportunity to attune to them, to step into the energy of the forest, even if you're living in a city and don't have a tree anywhere. Which, first of all, makes me sad for you. Like, we need to be near the trees. It's just, you can imagine that you're surrounded by invitations. You have an invitation to connect to the forest. You have an invitation to connect to the type of energy field found in a rose quartz stone. You have the opportunity to step into the energy stream of war. You have an opportunity to step into the energy stream of the connection between you and another person. You can step into the energy that comes with each individual oracle deck and tarot deck and chant and prayer and capitalism. Everything has an energy. And you get to be in resonance with that energy or not. But you got to know where you are first. And you have to remember that those are invitations. You don't have to take them. If you step into the energy of war and you're contributing peace to that, great. I mean, you're not meant to stay there. Step into the energy of Ukraine. Send peace, send love, hold the energy that whatever needs to happen, whatever's going to be the best happens. You're just holding space. We don't actually know what's supposed to happen here. We don't actually know. It's arrogant for us to think that we do. But we can add energy. We can hold ourselves in a state of peace so that people seeking peace can attune to us because we're broadcasting a signal, an invitation, offering an opportunity at those levels where we're all connected. And stepping into an energy stream isn't good or bad either. It's just, is it working for you or is it not? Is it bringing you closer to what you want or is it taking you further away? Step into the energy streams of all things. Experience the emotional signatures of all the things. And then remember where you are and who you are. And who you are is who you decide to be. Know what energy stream you're hooked up to. And then decide if you want to continue that or not. And those tools can help you. But they're not meant to be the end-all, be-all. And they're certainly not meant for you to ever think that you have to have them in order to do something else. You don't. It'll take time and practice for you to access your intuition right away. It'll take time and practice for you to hear those voices in your head and decide if you're going to agree with them or not. It takes time and practice for you to not be a victim to your own mind. But aren't you worth that? Isn't having a vibrant, complex, interesting life worth 15 minutes a day? Aren't you worth getting to know? Don't you deserve to get to know yourself as much as you really want someone else to know you, to understand you? Don't you deserve to feel heard by your own self? My partner doesn't listen to me. My partner doesn't this or that. Well, are you doing that for you? Is it his responsibility? Her responsibility? Or is it your responsibility? If you think it's his or her responsibility, you're in for continued hurt and struggle. It's not even your religion's responsibility to make your life good. It's not following a rule that's going to make your life good. It's getting to know you in your relationship to all the things, all that is. Your understanding of you being that point in time and space in the whole web. Okay, so if you were one of the ones, I heard from several people that they were going to do a divination diet as well. I hope that you've discovered some of this on your own and that you've realized that there may have been places where you were giving your power away and that you've taken that back now. And if you didn't do it, you might want to experiment with it. What do you do if you put all your tools down? Or if you really, really make sure you understand you're working with a tool, not a something that's giving you a something that you... I don't know what I'm saying. I don't know what I'm doing. But that's what's happening in the wolf world, and I just wanted to pass that on to you. I wish you well. May we all understand that tools are tools. May we all be happy. May we all be free. May we all experience freedom. May we all experience love. May we all remember to sink down and root into the earth. May we all remember that we have choices. May we all remember our own strength, our own power. May we all remember to step into the energy stream of love more often than not. May we all remember to not hand our power over to anything outside of ourselves, whether that's a card or a person or a situation or a house or a job, even a child, even a pet. And may you remember how much love I'm sending you, and I hope that you receive it. So until next time, think less, feel more, and I will talk to you later.